Hey guys, it's me Carly coming at you with another video, and I want to talk about Once Upon a Time, and mainly the character Captain Hook, who gets a lot of hate, and he gets hate from mostly Rumple fans and Regina fans. Now, before I start this video, I like all three characters, but Hook is not my favorite character, and he's not like, I'm a ride or die Hook fan, but I felt the need to address this issue with the hate he gets, and I know the show's over, but people will be like, we'll say something about Hook, like, oh, he seems rapey, oh, he's horrible with children, and then they go and prop up Regina in the same breath. Yeah. And that's hypocritical. So anyways, the cause for me making this video is that I keep seeing posts on Tumblr bashing Hook while propping up Regina. And the most recent one I saw was, Hook is horrible with children, and it was horrible of him to send Henry far away, and he put Henry in danger of Zelena, even though Zelena cursed Hook's lips that one time, and it was dangerous for him to be around Emma. Yeah. Okay. And we should have Regina protect Henry from Hook. Okay, I'm gonna stop you. And this post, I'm like, Hook is horrible with children? I mean, have you looked into Regina's past? Have you seen how she's treated children? I mean, there's a whole bunch of video. I don't remember the name of the YouTuber, but the videos series are called Regina Arguments Debunked. And it's like a pretty awesome series because it breaks down like all the heinous things that Regina has done. Now, don't get me wrong, I like Regina, but the more I dive into her character, like, the more reasons I find to dislike her, and people want to be like, oh, she's changed, oh, she's good now, oh, she's a nice person. I'm like, Regina ain't nice. I mean, she's an okay person, and she's become better, but they did not do her storyline of redemption good enough, because starting with the whole Hook is horrible with children and Regina is better with kids. Well, and the whole Regina should protect Hook from Henry, or Henry from Hook. And I'm like, really? Because Henry, as an 11-year-old Henry, wanted to build a weaponry room to defend himself and the rest of his family from Regina. Not Hook, Regina. Well, Hook wasn't around at the time, but like, this is his own, and Regina's his mom. Like, his adoptive mom, who, if, whoever makes those Regina, debunking Regina arguments video, can you please do a video on how Henry's adoption was illegal and proving it was illegal? Because people keep saying that it was illegal, but can you show me how and tell me why it was illegal? I mean, there was a good Tumblr post on how it was not illegal adoption. But let's face it. Yeah. But anyways, as I said, Henry wanted to build a weaponry room. What 11-year-old? You can't tell me that a kid that age was in good hands if he wanted to build a weaponry room against the woman who raised him. His own mom. His own mom, who even admitted to making him feel crazy about, like, hey, no one ages, and Regina, and Regina knew that Henry was onto her, and so instead of being like, yeah, you're right, it's true, she gaslit Henry. She gaslit Henry. She sent him to therapy to convince him that he was crazy. Like, who the hell tries to convince their own kid that they're crazy? Or to, like, she did everything in her power to convince Henry that he was crazy. That's gaslighting, and that's abuse. That's emotional and psychological abuse. And that's just not okay. And then, speaking of abuse, let's also talk about how Regina kidnapped Henry and physically abused him. Because he was trying to sneak out the window, trying to get away from Regina. And what does she do? She restrains him with vines, very much like what her own mother did. And I get that Regina had a rocky relationship with her mother, and I get that Regina was abused as a child by her mom and was very much loved by her dad. But Regina did this to Henry, and Henry was afraid of his own mother. That's a fucked up situation, and people constantly, like, demonized Henry for how he acted, but now looking back, Regina was a horrible person to Henry. Like, horrible. And then she isolated Henry because when Emma asked, oh, does he have any friends? He doesn't really have a lot of friends. He's kind of a loner. But then, when Henry lives with Emma for like a whole month, or I think it was a whole year in New York, Emma is like, oh yeah, he has a lot of friends. And also, Regina wiped Henry's memory to make him docile and kidnap him. Like, I'm a prisoner because you love me. That's not fair. Well, I have no one else to talk to. And as long as there are other people around, you will never fully be mine. Yeah, your kid is not a possession, Regina. Your kid is a person who deserves to have other people involved in his life and to have other people love him. You were possessive and controlling of him. That is gross. But people are gonna shit on Hook for being horrible to children when Regina did all of that. And this is the stuff that she did to her own son. Like, that's just gross. That's just wrong, and that's not okay. Okay, now Regina is horrible with, Hook is horrible with children. As I stated earlier, this is hypocritical because of Regina's past and how Regina just treated her own son. But let's go back further to how she treats children. Regina plotted revenge against a 10-year-old Snow White because 10-year-old Snow White was tricked by Cora, Regina's mother, into telling what Regina's plans were, because children are vulnerable. Children are very vulnerable people, okay? They are easily tricked. They are easily manipulated, and they will do anything that you say, pretty much. They are vulnerable. I'm not saying that they're stupid, but because they're not stupid, they're children. They're little kids. Snow White was a 10-year-old little girl at the time who wanted Regina to be happy, and in turn, yes, I know that it was not right of Snow White to do that, but then again, I don't blame Snow White because Cora tricked Snow White. And Snow White is a 10-year-old little girl, and I can't emphasize that enough. And yes, Cora killed Daniel because of what Snow told her, but, like, you're not mad at the right person, Regina. You're mad at a little girl who was tricked by an adult. And Regina even said that Cora corrupts children. Anyways, so Regina plots this revenge and hates Snow White from the time she is 10 years old to adulthood. But, like, this isn't okay. And then, what else? Other things Regina has done. Regina wanted to kill a baby. She wanted to kill baby Emma Swan. Yeah, that's right. Regina wanted to kill Emma as a little baby. A newborn baby. Like, oh, getting rid of a baby just made my list. All to get revenge on Snow White. And Snow White was forced. David and Snow were forced to give up Emma, put her in, a wardrobe to give her her best chance. And Emma was the same. And considering that Emma grew up in the foster system, there's no way she would give up Henry that easily without looking into good parents and hiring investigators to make sure that these people were safe. Like, oh, okay, I'm gonna give Henry away for my best chance, okay? Hope he has a good life. And, speaking of Regina debunked videos, because that's, like, kind of what I'm responding to, can you make a video on how Regina blames everyone for her problems and how Regina illegally adopted Henry? That'd be really awesome, thank you. But, like, you guys act like Hook is a horrible person and then act like he's horrible with children when Regina plotted revenge against the 10-year-old girl. Oh, and even worse, not only did Regina plot revenge against a 10-year-old girl, Regina has a fantasy about strangling a child. Yeah, it's 10-year-old Snow White, but, like, she had a fantasy about strangling Snow White as a little kid. Who has a fantasy about strangling children? You're not right in the head if you do, because that's not okay. Like, just to, like, oh, yeah, I really want to strangle a child. Yeah. Because you probably are going to need you need to go see a psychologist or a psychiatrist so they can heavily sedate you or whatever, because it is not normal to have a vision about strangling a child. A helpless child. That's not okay. But, like, really? And then, also, other horrible things Regina has done to children. She's went on a murdering rampage through several villages, killed she slaughtered an entire village and spared none of the children. I'm like, well, I mean, she's a murderer and she's the evil queen, and it's like, nobody trusts me. Oh, they're never gonna love me. And well, like, you just slaughtered a village full of people, and even Rumple is like, well, you did just slaughter an entire village. Like, doy. Nobody's gonna trust you after you murder a village. After they hear about you murdering a village, including children. And then, She's orphaned several children. She sent Hansel and Gretel to a gingerbread house, sticky sweet house, as she calls it, where a cannibalistic witch lives. And this is what Regina says. She says, well, you aren't the first children I've sent to that sticky sweet house. You're just the first to make it out. And, in this video that I watched, it's called Regina Debunked Video, there is a pile of bones. Yep, human bones on the floor of the children that the witch ate. Yeah, I know, that's a fucked up sentence, isn't it? This witch ate children that Regina sent to this, and Regina sent them to this witch because, once again, children are vulnerable. Children are vulnerable. They are easily manipulated. And they did not know that this witch was cannibalistic. But Regina knew that this witch was a cannibal. So you sent Hansel and Gretel from a cannibalistic witch and threatened to separate them from their father. And Hansel and Gretel like, we'll never live with someone as awful as you. Well, why not? Well, Regina, I wouldn't want to like be anywhere near you after I learned you sent me to a cannibalistic witch who ate children. And this isn't even me bashing Regina. These are canon things that happened. But, and like people call Captain Swan abusive and like prop up Swan Queen. But can we not pretend like Swan Queen isn't abusive because Regina threw Emma off a bridge, literally, to get her powers back. And like constantly degrades Emma. And it's annoying. And it's not that funny anymore. And I don't feel like Hook did any of that. Although I get really confused when people tell me that Captain Swan is toxic. I mean, they have some angst here and there, but I feel like a lot of people confuse toxicity with angst and angstiness with toxicity. So can someone please point out to me where they're toxic? Because I really don't understand it. And I'm not the biggest Captain Swan shipper. And even as, like, I'm not the biggest shipper because I don't completely hate it. I've never gotten the impression that they were toxic. I've never seen anything about them that was toxic. Just, like, it came across more as angsty and, like, hurt feelings, but not anything toxic. Up next, another stupid reason to hate, why people hate Hook. I don't like Hook. He seems rapey, and he gets women drunk and likes women on their back and made sexual inappropriate comments. Okay, yes, he did. He did make sexual inappropriate comments. And that was wrong. Oh, I can admit to that. But then you have Regina, who stole a man's heart, was controlling him with it, and made him do various sexual acts. And he had no idea why he was doing it. All he knew is that Regina was controlling him. And then in post-Storybrooke world, Regina still has his heart, she's still controlling him, and he's cursed. And he doesn't remember, he has no idea who he actually is until Emma shows up. Graham was raped, okay? And I cannot stress that enough. And I know I keep talking about this, but like, people, even like Adam and Eddie, don't want to admit that Regina raped Graham. Yeah, Regina raped Graham. No, it was consensual. It was like, having someone's heart means you are able to control them. Being cursed means you are under the control of a person who put the curse on a town. And if Graham remembered who he was, if he remembered he was the huntsman and he had his heart and he wasn't cursed, he would not be anywhere near Regina. He would not even be in her bed. Regina raped Hook, or not Hook. Regina raped Graham. Regina raped Graham. Regina raped Graham. I cannot stress that enough. Regina raped Graham, and I'm gonna keep saying it. Regina raped Graham. Okay, I'm done saying it. But like, you hate on Hook for being rapey, but prop up Regina, who really did rape someone for for almost 30 years. And, like, the hypocrisy of, like, evil Regal fans bug me. Hook is just the boring-ass character. I'm sorry, but he is bland. I mean, he's hot, but he's bland. He is bland and boring. And I know, and I think Regina is an interesting character, but she is horribly written. Her redemption arc is shit. And she should not have been allowed to be the good queen. Because let's be realistic. Regina, a rapist, a kidnapper, kidnapping. I almost forgot. And other ways she's horrible with children. Regina tried to kidnap a little boy. And people call Hook horrible with children. Like, Regina commanded Graham to pull over the father for drunk driving. And, like, I want you to stay with me. I'm like, ew. And Owen is like, I want to say he's like 8 or 9. And he runs away and I'll find you. Yeah, she tried to kidnap a little boy. And then he ran away from her and then came back and got revenge on her and people demonized him. And this knight was orphaned. This knight in the Camelot arc wanted to murder Regina because Regina killed his parents. And people keep like, oh, poor Regina, oh, let's protect her. And it's like, no! Like, Regina needs to be called out. Should have been called out for her actions. And, anyways, sorry for this video getting long, but I just felt the need to make this video because the hypocrisy pissed me off. And, anyways, if you enjoyed this video, like, share, and subscribe, leave a comment down below, and I'll probably make another video very shortly. And, have a